You, like me, probably ended Wind and Truth with a lot of unanswered questions, but the closer you look, there are actually a lot more answers in there than we first thought. I have scoured through this 1,300-page book, and I have found solutions to 7 of the biggest unanswered questions from Wind and Truth. Hello, World Hoppers! Each of the questions that I answer in this video honestly could have been their own video. They're that big. But I wanted to create the most information-dense yet easy to comprehend guide that'll help you feel like you got a little more answers out of Wind and Truth. I hope you learn a thing or two. Question number 1, what is Lift's boon and curse from the Night Watcher? Remember, Lift visited the Night Watcher, the same creature that Dalinar Kharlan and Taravangian both visited. The Night Watcher, or sometimes Cultivation herself, will give those who visit the boon that they seek. But there's also a curse that comes with it. Dalinar gets to forget who his wife is to help him cope, but he slowly remembers his traumatic past. Taravangian will have the capacity to save the world, yet he can't control when he's smart nor when he's emotional. According to Lift, she never got her boon. She thinks she has to be young forever, yet she still is aging. This is what Lift can best remember what she specifically said. I asked not to change. When everything else was going wrong, I wanted to be the same. I want to stay me. With the ending of Wind and Truth, this is put into a much more easy to understand context than it was in Rhythm of War. Her boon, which is what she asked for, is to stay the same when everything else is wrong. And to our best estimate, Lift is the only person who is able to use investiture on Roshar, as her powers don't come from Stormlight, they come from Lifelight. And now there is no more Stormlight due to the finale of Wind and Truth. This will prove so important in the next 5 books. We know book 6 is going to be Lift's books, and it makes perfect sense. We undoubtedly will see Lift's scene with the Night Watcher in that book, and I am excited to finally see that encounter. As for her curse, I think Cultivation went easy on her. She is forever going to grow up and eventually die. It's a fate we all have, but it is a fate that Lift is terrified of. Change. And Lift specifically reached out to the Night Watcher to stop this, and that's why I think that is her curse. Question number 2, what is up with El's Shardblade? Yeah, that's right, El has a Shardblade. If you missed it, don't worry, I missed it too on my first read through. I actually made an entire video about things you probably missed after Wind and Truth, so go check that out. And furthermore, El can summon his blade instantly, which immediately means one of 2 things. 1, El has hold of one of the 10 Honorblades as they are able to be summoned instantly. Or 2, El has bonded a Spren and has his Radiant Blade. Here's the thing. We know all the locations of the Honorblades. They are all in Shinovar, with the exception of Yezreen, which was in the possession of Moash. I guess Moash could have given it to El, but it wouldn't make sense narratively, and it's so much more lame. We know that Odium has big upcoming plans for El and Moash, so it just feels weird for El to just replace Moash as Yezreen's honor bearer. I don't know, it's weird. So, El is a Knight Radiant. Wow. I believe he either bonded either an Ash Spren or an Ink Spren, making him a Dustbringer or Else's Color respectively, as those relate to self-mastery and reaching your potential, which aligns strongly with El putting metal under his carapace. But what's even up with that? Get ready for my crackpot El theory that explains what makes El so unique, why he has no title, no rhythm, and is isolated among the fused. I don't think El is a singer, or I don't think he was. I think due to El's extreme fascination with the humans, as well as considering the Herald's friends, I think he was a human that somehow got involved in the Singers and being sucked to Braze. This is possible as he takes a new body each time he returns, so he didn't originally need to be a singer. This makes him the only fused with the brand of adhesion. We have names for all the other surges and how they show up in the fused in the forms of brands. How the heavenly ones are paired to the surge of gravitation, or how the masked ones are paired to the surge of illumination. El is the only fuse that is paired to the surge of adhesion, which we previously believed didn't exist. Now, what are the consequences of this? When he returns from Braze to Roshar, he replaces his carapace with some sort of metal that attaches to his body in a way that is unique to him. I believe he's using the surge of adhesion to meld the metal into his body and his carapace on top of that. However, if he has the brand of adhesion, there is a chance that would amplify the adhesion effect that is pulling him back to Braze. Remember, Braze has a pulling effect on all the fused who return to Roshar. Think about a magnet and some paper clips. If you're using a magnet on the paper clips, yeah, it will attract them, but not super strongly. But substitute out the paper clips with another magnet and boom, that's going to be a much stronger attraction. So why doesn't this happen? Because of the metal L puts under his carapace. If that metal is aluminum, it could be what is stopping his brand of adhesion from pulling him back to Braze. Adhesion is the surge of honor, because L is of honor. He is human. My honor was stripped away because I warned of the signs. We cannot rule much longer. Yes, he is talking about the fused, but the concept of his honor or humanness, as we established, being stripped away is really fascinating to me. All right, I just need to talk about something else. But I have more about this theory that I'd love to discuss with you over on my Discord. Question 3. Why did Taln try to kill Cultivation? And what was the weapon he used? Here are the facts. Taln's soul was warped due to his attempt to kill Cultivation. Taln lost the weapon that Kalek gave to him. Now, exploring the Cosmere brings up a really interesting theory that the weapon that Taln lost was a Dawn Shard, as it's powerful enough to kill a shard and powerful enough to warp his soul. And I really like this theory because, frankly, we don't know of any other weapons that would be strong enough in the Cosmere for someone to attack a dragon god. Like, maybe Taln would think he could with Nightblood, but he couldn't. Also, Nightblood wasn't even born yet. However, this doesn't answer the question, why did Taln try to kill Cultivation? The answer has to be one that justifies Horsekeeper Taln to want to commit murder, and one that explains why honor nor cultivation didn't just obliterate him after. Because if someone tries to kill you, you or your husband's probably gonna want to kill them back. I'm gonna present 2 possible answers, and you can let me know what your favorite is in the comments down below. Option 1, Taln tried to kill Cultivation out of revenge for Honor destroying Ashen. Taln knows that Honor is responsible for the destruction of Ashen. You destroyed my entire world, my grandmother's world. Taln could have figured out the relationship between Honor and Cultivation and gone after Cultivation as she was an easier target than Honor, I guess. I'm not gonna lie though, that doesn't sound like Taln. Taln even back then said, I suppose everyone deserves a second chance, even gods. So it doesn't make sense that Taln would have attacked Cultivation out of malice or revenge. However, when he first sees Honor, he does look like he wants to kill him, so maybe the encounter with Cultivation is what taught him this lesson of second chances. That leads me to idea number 2. What if it wasn't a murder attempt per se? What if Taln, using a Dawn Shard or some other weapon, had the opportunity to siphon off some of Cultivation's power? This would have led to the warping of his soul, and it would be a process that others would definitely refer to as killing her. Additionally, Taln's soul was warped due to his attempt to kill Cultivation, not explicitly by the weapon used in that attack. So who's to say the energy from this encounter is what actually warped Taln's soul? So Taln gets a weapon from Kalek and tries to do something that inadvertently hurts Cultivation. When he realizes what he is doing, he begrudgingly stops. Question 4, how did Taln's Honorblade get to the Stone Ward Monastery? To recap, when Taln shows up at the end of Way of Kings, he's bearing his Honorblade. However, next time we see him in Words of Radiance, it's not his Honorblade. See, they take a Shardblade and give it to Amaram, who does not get Stone Ward powers, which is what the Honorblade would do, meaning it is not the Honorblade. Also, Dalnar holds this false blade and it does the Deadeye Scream thing at him, and the Honorblades aren't Deadeyes. Then somehow the blade shows up in Shinovar in Wind and Truth. So how the heck did that happen? Alright, so the answer we're looking for is actually going to come from Stonewalkers, the upcoming pre-written adventure for the Stormlight RPG. So if you want to play through this adventure spoiler free, skip ahead to the next point where we're going to be talking about where the Irialli are going. From looking at the already released documents about the adventuring party will travel from the Shattered Plains all the way to Shinovar in the time frame of Words of Radiance. I'm willing to bet that the players of this adventure are the ones originally escorting Taln from Kholinar to the Shattered Plains, due to this artwork. Why else would they put this in the book? The adventuring party will either be A, bringing the Honorblade with them to Shinovar, or B, chasing down the blade that was stolen by the antagonist, who's a truth watcher named Yilt. they will take it from him and it will, in the end, stay with the Stone Ward Monastery. Question 5, where are all the Irialli going? So, in one of the later interviews, you saw this big blue water guy be like, it's time to go, and all the Irialli people hop in a boat and then sail off into Honor's perpendicularity. You probably thought to yourself, what the f***? The Irialli are actually not native to Roshar. While they have been there for thousands of years, they are a group of people that are on what is known as the Long Trail. Think of it like the Oregon Trail, except instead of opportunists seeking gold in the west parts of America, it's a group of golden hair folk who are traveling the Cosmere. Roshar is the 4th planet on this quest of 7 planets. So Kushikesh, this weird water guy, is going to be their guide for this leg of the journey, and likely take them to planet number 5. We know that planet 5 or 6 has to be Lumar, the planet from Tress of the Emerald Sea, as that book takes place in the future and the Irialli people have already left. Coincidentally, at the same time on Lumar, Xysis the dragon shows up, but we'll get back to that in a second. In the Lost Metal, we hear, you know who killed Tobal? Was it those people with golden hair living on the east side? There's some kind of fairy creature, I know it. Additionally, we see Rosharan food, like chowda, start to show up on Scadrial around the same time. And finally, a Kandra works its way to Lomar. It would be totally reasonable to assume that the Kandra hitched a ride with the Irialli when they left Scadrial to go to Lumar. Meaning the Irialli and Kushikesh go from Roshar, the 4th planet, to Scadrial, the 5th planet, where Xysis the dragon will guide the Irialli to the 6th planet, Lumar. That's right, I think Xysis came with them from Scadrial, and that Kushikesh will now be on Scadrial. Kushikesh's presence on Scadrial's world explains the flood that is ruining the crops that we see in the Mistborn broadsheets. Keep your eye out for this dragon or waterspren in the upcoming era, Mistborn Era 3. Question number 6. What is the 4th moon? Yeah, Honor dropping that Roshar used to have a 4th moon kind of fell out of the blue, but here we are. Listen, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. If you want to learn more about what is up with the 4th moon, you can check out my video on it, Light Color's video on it, or the Shardcast episode on it. Essentially, it's probably connected to a shard, if not Irialli himself. Cool? Cool. Question 7. Is the Herald Battar going to continue to work for Retribution with the newfound Oath Pack? In Wind and Truth, it is officially revealed that Dova, a member of the Diagram, is the Herald Battar. Odium is then able to convince Battar to join his crew alongside Moash and El. Odium notes on how it will be nice to have a herald on his side in the upcoming conflicts. The wise counselor, known for her wisdom for millennium, had become corrupt. And this is due to the herald's suffering, meaning her corruption is something that is part of the mental health that Kaladin is going to alleviate. It is important to note, Battar is also the last to pick up the call to reforge the Oath Pack. It goes Kaladin, Ishar, Nail, Taln, Videl, Chana, Palia, Ash, Kalek, then Battar. And she was looking around with a curious eye. Due to that curious eye, I believe Battar is working alongside Retribution at this time of the new Oath Pack. However, over time, Kaladin will hopefully be able to heal her from this corruption, but I doubt this will be without its conflicts. A lot of these things we are going to have to wait, read, and find out, but there are a good amount of things you probably missed when you read Wind and Truth, and I made a video about it just for you. Thank you so much to my patrons, Mac, 6H23, Zaynef, and Leah for your constant support. It means the world to me. Okay, love you, bye.